All right. I'll multitask and I'll let people in as need be because I want to make sure we have time to answer questions and go over what we need to go over. I know there's a number of people that wanted this information. If you guys are watching live in EXP Family Tree, you can jump on my Zoom link and be here live to ask questions, or you can chat questions below the live stream as well, and I'll get to them after at some point. Since I'm doing the call, I can't monitor them during, but I will monitor them after. Otherwise, join us on my Zoom link, which has been posted all around EXP Family Tree. All right. And of course, this is going to be out on my YouTube channel. So if you guys have people that you want to share this with, you can feel free to do that. It'll be out there by tomorrow. So I have been with EXP for 2.5 years now. When my husband and I and his real estate team moved over to EXP 2.5 years ago, we did not have an office space, but we were going to an office every single day. Up here in North Idaho, we didn't really ever stop going into the office. And so it's a little bit more of a traditional space. And so we knew that our real estate team and other real estate agents that were going to be partnering with us at EXP were going to want some space. But we didn't want to do it in the way of a brokerage for a whole bunch of different reasons. One of the reasons is because EXP is a cloud brokerage and a virtual brokerage. And I think there are a tremendous amount of benefits for being with a cloud brokerage. So the idea wasn't to change the model of EXP, but rather to enhance the opportunity for EXP agents that wanted office space and for us as entrepreneurs to actually have another income stream and another business. One of the great things about being part of EXP Realty is that we are treated as entrepreneurs and we are given those opportunities. Because we don't have brick and mortar offices like traditional brokerages, we can have the opportunity to do something like this. And I'm sitting in the training room of our space right now to be able to grow our business and to invest in other business entities or office spaces or things of that nature that bring us more opportunities for wealth building. So if we were with a brokerage that had their own brokerage, sure, could we open up a co-working space? Yes, but would we actually be able to attract agents to it? No, because we'd be in direct competition with our brokerage, right? So EXP is just an awesome opportunity for us to do different things. And Chris and I saw this as an opportunity for us from a business perspective, as well as for us to be able to continue to grow EXP locally. So I wanted to just kind of put that out there because some people are saying, well, why do we have to change the EXP model? It's a virtual brokerage. We aren't changing the model. We're just enhancing it and creating another business opportunity. At least that's the way we see it. So we were looking for office space for my husband's real estate team, which consisted of at least at that time, I think 20 agents. Now I think it's 25 agents. And we came across a space that was much too large for just the team. And the way it was laid out, we just really, my husband and I saw a vision. And I really, really believe that that was something that was planted on our hearts and it was something that was meant to be. We both really, really felt it almost exactly the same way. We saw the same vision without talking about it. And it really has become a place that has blessed the community. There's a lot of really, really cool things happening with relationships in this space. And it has cash flowed. We just had our first year anniversary. It was cash flowing in 6 months. And more importantly, it's just providing us a phenomenal place to work and to connect. And it's also providing other people, not only in real estate, but in other industries in our local market to do the same in an affordable way. So that's kind of the vision of it. So now let me talk a little bit about like just the basics of what does it look like? Because that was a lot of questions like, what's offered, what do you charge, et cetera. Before I get into that though, I want to cast the vision of when we're out there talking to people in our market, what we're known for. So the name of the space is The Cove. It is a co-working space and our tagline is connection, community, and collaboration. We believe that people will always do more together than they can on their own. And it is a broker agnostic and an industry agnostic space, meaning any brokerage, any real estate agent can work in here, and so can anybody of any industry. What we're attracting, because we have a lot of realtors in this space, is a lot of industry individuals who want to be around real estate professionals. But we're also attracting nonprofit owners because we're very affordable. We're attracting other business owners. And so what is happening is relationships are being built in this space and people are getting and giving referrals to each other. So our agents have an affordable place to work. They are collaborating with other business owners. They're giving and receiving real referrals. So they're growing their business. And we have a place to recruit to when it comes to EXP Realty. We also have a place to hold our events and our trainings for free because otherwise we'd have to go out and pay for this. We have our own space that we get to work, and we have another cash flowing business at this point. So it's bringing us value and making us money in multiple ways. One, as itself an extra business entity. Number two, it helps offset a cost that we'd already have, which is renting space somewhere anyway in our business. So we're basically paying ourselves and having that tax write-off. Number three, all of our local EXP agents are having more collaboration, a better culture, places to meet together, et cetera, which helps all of us if we all can do better and collaborate together. Number four, it's helping us grow our revenue share because we are recruiting more local agents because we have the space. And number five, our agents who are in the space are doing more business because they're getting referrals from people in the space and they're getting engaged. So, I mean, it is an absolute opportunity for every single one of us to take advantage of this. Now, I want to stop and say, you don't actually have to open up your own co-working space to do something like this. In my opinion, you could go to a co-working space and figure out if there's a way that you could negotiate with them to have you and your group of agents and those that you're recruiting to have access to that space. Maybe you pay a main membership and then maybe they get a small membership. Maybe they'd include so many members. Use the space to recruit too, because people can have an office to go to. They can have printer, copier, scanner. You meet there in person once a week or once a month or twice a month. Really just realize that if you're the person who's just leading the charge in this, it would be great if you could use it as another business opportunity and go open up your own space. But in the meantime, you can actually leverage space for this. You could also, get a smaller space and build it to something bigger. We ran into a space that was larger. We felt very called to do it. So we went for it, took the risk. The space is 10,000 square feet, but that's not what you have to do. I want you to hear the concept of what I'm talking about because you can do it in your own way without owning a space too. You can be the leader and the visionary and figure out how you can do something like this in your own area without having as much risk. I truly believe that. I'm helping people across the country come up with ideas on how to do that as well. So that's why people want to join the space. The costs, let's talk a little bit about that. So my vision for this was more people paying less, which is not necessarily the case for other co-working spaces. Depending upon your area, you might see models like this. In our area, the model is more less people paying more each because the spaces aren't as big. Typically you have private office spaces. People are paying some pretty decent rents for those office spaces. You might have some drop-in charges, or you might have to pay for conference rooms. So things become a little bit more expensive because you're paying for multiple things. You're paying maybe for copies, you're paying for this, you're paying for that. And so it ends up not being that affordable, but people still pay it because they need to be able to have an address for their office, a place maybe to get business mail, especially with EXP. That is a consideration. If you don't have an EXP office in the area that you live, where your address shows is not where you do business. So having a co-working space that you can use a local address can be really helpful, right? So we offer that as an opportunity, and it provides opportunity to agents for that reason too, but other business owners who work out of their home as well. So the idea though was instead of going towards the professionals who are paying thousands of dollars a month potentially for office somewhere, we would be going after small business owners and entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, nonprofit owners who still need to have this sort of collaboration in space, but are going to not want to or aren't able to pay as much. And in my mind, more people in a space, if you have the space for it, creates more collaboration. It creates more opportunity for referrals. It creates more opportunity for relationship building. It creates more opportunity for people to come up with ideas. We've got people doing book clubs in here and masterminds and networking groups and investor meetups. Like they're using the space themselves because it's accessible to them at a really low cost, but then it brings value to everybody else and it brings more people into our space and it helps us grow our space as well. So more people paying less was the concept, and we had the space in which to do it. So more people paying less meant that we would have to attract more people. But if the concept is collaboration, connection, community, referrals, networking, we needed more people. So we had to just go find more people paying less to pay our bills, but it was going to bring more value. And by the way, just like every other business, this place has completely grown through referrals. So if you have more people, you have more referrals. It's like if your database is larger, you're going to get more referrals, right? Well, our membership is larger, so we get more referrals. So it actually costs us less to market and to grow our space because we're doing it through more people. So right now, 1 year in, our anniversary was March, so we're just at 1 year. We have about 160 members. We only have, we have one space of 4,000 of the 10,000 square feet that is rented out by a large real estate team. That was my husband's team, now our business partners team. And then we have the rest of the space, which is about 7,000 square feet, that is for the rest of the membership. And in that, we have 17 private offices only. So of that 17 private offices, there's 2 people per office. So we got 38 people. So of the 160 members, 55 members, 38 of those are in offices. The rest of them are doing the co-working membership. Okay, so that's the more paying less, right? So our offices, we did strategically place those below the market rate and the other co-working spaces around us, because when I looked at the other co-working spaces, they were attracting entrepreneurs that were working for companies that were working from home. Well, their companies were paying for their office space. So of course they could pay $800 a month, right? Or $700 a month, in some cases more than that. When we're talking about a solo entrepreneur, a real estate agent, an insurance agency owner, or a financial advisor, or an inspector, or a stager, they're not going to pay $800 or $900 or $1,000 a month for an office space in most cases, right? So we actually looked at what would it be if somebody was at a brokerage, a traditional brokerage. What do those brokerages charge their agents for office space? And we kind of went just a little above that, just simply because we needed to make the numbers work. So the office spaces range from $399 to $399 or $499 a month, depending upon the size. And so still below market rate, still pretty comparable to some real estate offices, but they're getting a whole bunch more being here than at a brokerage, right? So we have been on a waiting list in our office space since we literally opened the office up. We only had 7 offices and we built 10 more, and we still have a waiting list. So we're considering building another 6 offices. We just have to see how it works in the space. We have some limitations with the way the space is. But if we built 6 more, we'd fill them up and we'd probably still have a waiting list, which was interesting to me because I actually didn't think we would have as much interest in the office spaces. I thought we'd have more interest in the co-working. Now, we do have a lot of interest in the co-working because we have 140 members, but there's still people calling us on a weekly basis looking for private office space. So that's just something interesting that I've noted. So those office spaces bring us a certain level of income, but not what we need even close to pay the bills. So what we needed to do is go find a whole bunch of people to pay a co-working membership. And so the number we landed on was $99 a month, $99 a month. Pretty obvious because it's under $100. In a month's time, you could spend $99 pretty easily on lunches or coffees or, things of that nature. All of our members do get access to a kitchen, a cafe area, and they do get access to coffee. That's brewed every single day for them, condiments for the coffee, teapot and tea, as well as, water bottles for them and their clients and things like that. So if they're meeting people at our space instead of a busy coffee shop, number one, it's a lot quieter and more private. Number two, they can still give their clients coffee, but they're not paying anything for it. Well, they're paying $99 a month, but they have unlimited use of that space. So when you walk in the space, it's a cafe area, and we do have it set up that way for our members and their guests. Also, they can use the kitchen, of course, and we've got toaster and microwave and refrigerator and all those things, so they can bring lunch, dinner, and all of that. So they do have a kitchen area as well. The space is not manned by any staff. We wanted to make this as simple as possible. This is a second job for both my husband and I, so we couldn't make it high maintenance. So a couple of things. One is it is manned by no one, and it is, of course, a security system, and then we have an app for people to enter the building. So only members can enter through an app. We do give them a backup code in case the app fails. They can use the space 24/7, and it's just kind of user-friendly. Just come in and I give them a tour, and they know how to use everything, and they're in and out. They can schedule conference rooms. We have 4 conference rooms. We do not we don't charge them any extra. It's first come, first serve. And it's literally done through a scheduling app that I found online. It's super easy. It's very affordable. I think I pay maybe $100 a month for 5 spaces. And essentially I put QR codes outside of each of the doors, and they get a link, and they can schedule from afar, and they schedule all their own They schedule them, they cancel them, they do everything. I don't have to monitor anything, and it's just first come, first serve. So that's easy. The other thing is we do mail. So we do collect the mail every day. We put it in their mailboxes. We're here every day working anyways, between myself, my husband, and our business partners. So we do collect the mail that way, but we made it very simple. It's kind of like a filing cabinet with folders, and they pick up their mail. We don't sign for any packages because we don't have staff. Nobody seems to have a problem with that. If it's a package that needs to be dropped off that doesn't need to be signed for, we put it back by the mail. So that's pretty simple. We do have a commercial copier, scanner, printer. We do not charge for copies. The reason we don't is because that's another high maintenance thing that we would have to have a staff member do, or we'd have to do. So what we ask people, and we have never had anybody take advantage of this, is that they do not do large, huge colored copy projects at our space, because we don't charge them for it, and they're here for $99 a month. And people are very, very appreciative of the affordability, and we've never had anybody abuse that. We do tell people if they need to do a large project and they can't, and they're like in a short notice pinch, just to let us know, and they can pay us extra for that. And we've had a few people do that, and they've been more than happy to do it. So this allows us to not have to monitor anything, track copies, send bills, invoices, all that stuff. The other thing is we have them sign up online through a very simple portal. So they sign up online. I get an email. I copy and paste a welcome email that gives them all the instructions, and they literally can begin using the space immediately. And I don't have to be here for them to do that. Now, I do want to meet everybody, and I typically do, and I give them a tour at some point. But if somebody signed up last night and they need to schedule something tomorrow, and I'm not going to be able to meet them first, I'll explain to them on the phone what they need to do, and they can literally begin using it. It's that hands off. So they go online, they sign up. It's a reoccurring payment on the same day, the same month, every month that they signed up, until they give us a 30-day notice and they cancel. For our co-working membership, $99 a month, we do have it as just a month to month. There's no long-term contracts. Again, in the vein of small business ownership, we understand what that means. And we believe that, we don't want to force somebody to pay something if they can't afford to pay for it, or if we're not giving them the value that they need for their business. So it's a $99 a month, month-to-month charge, and they just have to give us a 30-day notice. Now, with our private offices, they do have to give us a 6-month contract time. And that's simply because we have a waiting list, and they are in high demand. So they sign up, they have to commit to 6 months. And after that, they go to month, and they have to give us a 30-day notice. So that's the only difference there. We do also have a training room, which is what I'm sitting in right now. And our members do get to reserve this first come, first serve, as well, for networking events. If they want to train the public, do a seminar, if they want to train the members to get in front of other business owners, if they want to do an event for their nonprofit, if they want to do a VIP client event, they can reserve this space. It fits between 70 and 80 people. There's great technology in here. There's extra bathrooms back here. It's a really, really nice space. And that's been a really great selling feature for the space. So one of the things I've told people is, if you're looking for a co-working space specifically for small business and entrepreneurs, having some sort of training or meeting space, I think, is almost a necessity. I will tell you that I think probably 75% of the people that join because we have this space, and they can access it, because otherwise they're going to have to go to restaurants or to other places and reserve rooms. And it's $100, $150, $200 an hour. If you go to restaurants, you have to buy food and drink there, and it ends up adding up to $400, $500, $600. I just did an event in a different state with some of my business partners. We ended up having about 50, 60 people. We did it at a restaurant. We wanted to do that, and that's okay to do it occasionally. But just to give you an idea, for us to do that for 60 people, it was over $1,500. So the reality is, somebody could pay $99 a month here and fit 70 people in this room and cater in some food, and it would be a fraction of the cost, right? So, we've had people do, info sessions on their nonprofit to get the word out. We've had people come in here. We have lenders come in here and do lunch and learns on a monthly basis, and bring lunch in and invite realtors, not only that are in the space, but just out in the public, because all of the events are open to anybody in the public. Obviously, it helps us get more people in the space to see it, and it helps the members grow their business. So you don't have to be a member to attend the training. You have to be a member to conduct a training, or to use the space for a training or an event or a seminar, or whatever the case may be. So that has been a huge value. And I think that's probably one of the biggest ones. Besides that, we have a private Facebook group for the members, and that's so that people can collaborate in a space outside of the space more socially, or if they're looking for a referral partner and they haven't been in the space for a little while, or they haven't been able to meet somebody that they want to. Number one, I put the updated directory of all of the members in that Facebook group on about a monthly basis, keeping that up to date so people can look for people in different industries to give and receive referrals. It's also where I put my announcements in, remind people of events coming up or things changing or just updates in the space. And it's also where people ask each other for referrals, give each other some updates on things, or promote their business. Every Monday, we allow all of the members to promote their business to each other in that venue as well. And then we also have a space inside here that people can put all their business cards, flyers for events, brochures, and market themselves. So there's a whole area of all of the members' information. And so, you know, when people are in and out, they can look for business cards of each other and things like that. So it's another really great networking piece. Also, if anybody does use the space that I'm in and they're offering trainings or they're doing something for their business, if they share with me all of the information, I promote that out on all of our socials and I promote it on our website. So now they're also getting free marketing. So, you know, but why would I do that? Well, because it helps us to promote our space. I mean, we haven't had to do any kind of paid marketing. We're just helping other people grow their businesses. And when we help other people grow their businesses, people get into our space and then they want to be part of it too. And so it's the idea of, you know, the success through others model, which is the model of EXP, by the way, right? And so we're really just doing it again in just a different way. And so, you know, since we opened the space, we now have regular meetups with EXP agents. That's been a huge value because we have a consistent place to do it. We have lots of trainings for entrepreneurs and agents, and we're inviting them and they're able to come and just connect a little bit more instead of sitting at home and being like in an island on their own. And that's been huge for us. But really, you know, we've developed some relationships we absolutely would not have had, even ourselves as real estate professionals and leaders in the market, because the space is unique in that way. So that's my 2 cents. There's really not much more about it. It is very simple, but super successful, very fun, super rewarding. I'll tell you, after 1 year of being in business, and just coming from a place of contribution and helping and doing a lot of trainings and sharing about what we're doing, we are really seeing this spring a growth pattern to EXP here locally. It took about a year, but I think probably in the next 2 weeks, we'll have 7 or 8 cappers or icon agents joining us, and they would not have probably paid attention to us would it not have been the space. Now, I don't think that we would have had to have the space. I think we would have had to figure out how we could have come from contribution and created masterminds and trainings and, you know, all of that out there. And I believe you can do it. I was doing it before we had the space. The consistency around it is key. And this space has just allowed us to do it more consistently. And like I shared with you, if you have a space around you where you could just leverage that space to do the same concept without having to actually run it and own it, it can still work very successfully because I see people across the country doing it. But, you know, if you can get some business partners together and do something like this, it can be an additional income stream for you at the same time. So you're really kind of maximizing all of your opportunities at once. So now I'm going to open it up to questions. You guys unmute yourself, ask questions, raise your hand, and I am going to go ahead and just see if there's any questions on the live in workplace as well. It looks like we've got some people watching. So hi to you guys, Amanda or Audrey. If you guys have questions, you can chat them here and I will answer them. But let me know what you guys have as questions for those of you in the Zoom. I'll take them one by one. Anyone working out of a co-working space, thinking about starting an office space or have an office space, even just for EXP already? Just out of curiosity.
Cari, I came in a bit late, but what a great idea. It is a great concept, and I would like to see how to move that forward.
Yeah. Well, and this is recorded. It'll be out on my YouTube, but I also have it live streamed in EXP Family Tree. So I gave all of the details in the beginning of the call, Randy. So if you go back and just watch the first 20 minutes of that live stream, I went over all the pricing, exactly the concept, what we're doing, how we've grown. So it's, you know, I don't by any means need to keep it a secret. It's been very successful in our market. Obviously, doing your own R&D in your own market and seeing what is your competition and what people are charging is really important. because the numbers might not mesh or make sense for you based on your square footage cost, all those things. But conceptually, I think it makes sense. And then you just kind of figure out your own numbers accordingly. So, and always happy to talk to somebody. I mean, my husband and I we love the model. We think it's great. We're looking at, always opportunities of like, well, what if we could do this in other markets with other people? If it helps them grow EXP, if it helps us to have another income stream. So we're always happy to chat with people about it, and just kind of wanted to start the conversation. I've had a lot of people reach out to me, just asking about the specifics. So hopefully this will help many of you. Scott, did you have a question? I saw you pop on camera.
Cari, how are you? Thanks so much
Good.
for doing this and taking the time to
Yeah.
unwrap this a little bit. Not really a question you would ask if anyone else was putting together an office or had plans. I am forming a partnership right now
Awesome.
to open an office in late spring. That will be an EXP office, but I love this concept to grow into, actually. So, once ideally we outgrow the little footprint that we're going to get started in. I see this as an opportunity to kind of leapfrog the medium space and go to something much grander, where you can attract larger teams, of course, but then also have this other environment where you're sharing that co-working space. And there's a few around my area right now, but nothing on the scale like this. I guess one question, and you may have said this earlier that I didn't catch it, but the building you're in now, was that existing, or was that a new build?
Yeah, it was existing. It was existing. We are considering building like our next move would ideally we would build a building because we're learning what we like about this space, and obviously learning what we need more of based on the demand and what would even make it better. And we have limitations because the space existed. So we don't have extra space to build on the way that this space is. So our ideal situation would be in the next few years to take this to the next level and build a building and transition. So it was existing. In fact, believe it or not, it was a build out that happened by an organization, a large organization. They spent $1 million in renovations, and then COVID happened and they never reopened. So we actually had to take on a sublease. We couldn't purchase the space yet because they had to go through their term. So we took it over, negotiated every single item in the space. So we literally took it over and were able to open this up within a couple of days. And I mean, we had some things that we need to do technologically speaking, but like we were already taking, office, leases. So it was a huge opportunity that, we believe was supposed to happen. It was too easy not to know that it was supposed to happen. But, we do see an opportunity for us to build wealth through real estate. So we've thought about buying this. I just don't know. I just don't think it's exactly what we need. I think that there's so much more we could do and we need more space. Believe it or not, we need more than 10,000 square feet. We also just need the space to be just a little bit different. A lot of it is perfect and we're missing a few things. So I think to really optimize it. And for the trajectory of the growth that we have coming, to be honest with you, I think even within the brokerage, we're going to run out of space. Like people are begging us for office space at this point, and we have nothing to offer them. So, so to answer your question, I think it would be a phenomenal opportunity to build something and do something like this once you prove the concept. So, we actually worked with, a large EXP. Well, it was a brokerage that just moved over to EXP in the Spokane market, which is the sister market right across the border. And a lot of our agents are dual licensed. They had an office space as a brokerage, and they came over here, learned about our space. And in the state of Washington, it's a little bit trickier for them to own a co-working space and have it not be a brokerage. I think they could have got around it. It's okay. They didn't really want to do that. So what they're doing, Scott, which might be interesting to you, is they're kind of doing a little bit of a hybrid of what we're doing. So they're doing EXP only for real estate agents, and they're opening it up to other industries. So now you've got the industries that want to work around real estate agents who can give and receive referrals to each other, help each other out, collaborate, train each other, and work around each other. And it's exclusive to EXP agents, which is kind of cool too. I mean, there's pros and cons to both, right? It's kind of cool too, because now those EXP agents are working in not a traditional brokerage setting where they're just working around, their competitors essentially. And now they get to work around each other, and they get to work around other industries. And so that has been really, really cool, a concept, but they kind of followed a very similar concept to ours in terms of pricing, just because ours was working so well. So, so yeah, oops, I have, my lights went off. Efficiency. Yeah, so that would be something to think about, Scott, in the meantime, something like that. It depending upon obviously the space that you have, but can help you cash flow more, and it can bring some really great value to your agents if they can work around people that they can get business from too.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Cheryl. Hi.
Hi there. So I also joined just a few minutes late, but I wanted to ask, and I think you might have just answered this while you were talking, are you buying or leasing? It sounds like you
Leasing right
are
now.
leasing, but you would, but you want to try to buy your own space
Mhm.
eventually. Okay. Then the criteria for what you look for in the space is like 10,000 square feet. Is that like a minimum? Is that your sweet spot?
I don't necessarily know that answer. I think it's going to depend on what is in your local market, to be honest with you. What does your competition have? What kind of demand is there out there? I mean, can you see if you've got a bunch of co-working spaces, like what are they charging? And are there a lot of vacancies, or does it seem like there's waiting lists? I mean, you can kind of tell by doing a little bit of R&D what your market is looking for. If you have local EXP agents, go talk to them now. Hey, if we opened up a space, would you be interested? Are you looking for office space? Would you be open to having a co-working so you can meet people, clients at conference rooms to have a professional space to work in? Do you need a copier printer? What about mail? We actually went out there and talked to, I think at the time we probably had 100, maybe 130 local EXP agents. And we went to all of them and said, who's interested? And in fact, we filled up all of our first offices with EXP agents. Then we went to the top agents and we're like, hey, we're doing this. Are you interested? So they didn't have to be under us in revenue share. We didn't care about that. Right. So you can do a little bit of R&D and figure out, well, what do people want? What are they willing to pay, et cetera. I think that's not a bad idea. And then that helps you to know, like, how much space do we need to start out with? I'm a firm believer, to Scott's point. I mean, get a cool space. And if you don't have enough space for everybody, it just creates that demand, and people want to be part of it, and then go find something bigger, So I wouldn't necessarily go huge at the beginning unless we had an opportunity that really we couldn't pass up, to be honest. We didn't look at it from like, we need 10,000 square feet. We thought it was too much. To be honest with you, it was a little scary for us because it's a pretty big lease, but we just felt very compelled that we were supposed to do it. So we did it. So I don't think 10,000 square feet is necessarily the answer. Now that we know we can fill up 10,000 square feet, would we go build a building that big? Yeah, because we already have proven that there's a demand for it, and probably a little bit more because we're just at the precipice of really growing EXP. I think the way we can through this space. Therefore, I would go look for something larger now, but I wouldn't necessarily say that you'd have to do that at the beginning.
So then when you set up your space, I imagine that there's like individual stations for people
Yes.
to work, and then there might be a couple of groupings or something. And then you said something about like a space if they want to give classes or networking event, right? So
Yeah.
is that kind of how you split it out?
Yeah, so I'm sharing my screen right now. This is all being redone, so it's going to look different here in a minute, but there's some pictures. So that's why I'm sharing my screen. So this is the cafe area when you come in the front door. This is where I was talking about. We always have coffee, tea, water, all of that, and where people can use refrigerator and microwave and toaster and all the things, multiple refrigerators, et cetera. This is also where people will meet clients instead of a busy coffee shop. We've got some music playing in there. I think I should have other spaces. So to the right is an example of what it kind of looks like. We have changed a few things. We did put dividers between these. We purchased dividers, so they look a little bit more like cubes now. They're not super high dividers because we didn't want it to create like isolation, but we wanted it to create barrier of noise. So we did put white noise machines around. We play music, and then there's there's dividers the long way end between each station that we purchased pretty inexpensively, I think, on Amazon. Honestly, they're gray and they look nice. So that's the big co-working space. And then the training center that I'm sitting in right now is kind of these pictures that you can see. I don't think I put a lot of the training room space, but this is, there's maybe more. Yeah, so this is really what the open concept of the co-working looks like. This is where the copy machine is. This is where the mail is. And then there's conference rooms that are glass conference rooms, and there's 4 of them. There's 2 large ones and 2 small ones. They're pretty basic, but they have doors, and I put the QR codes, and that's where they can actually meet their clients.
What about like a background check whenever somebody comes and says, I want to join your group? Do you run a background check?
No.
No?
We
Okay.
don't. It could be something you might want to do depending upon your location. We don't. We have high security in terms of like people can't get in unless they have the app. We also have cameras everywhere. And so we don't do anything other than tell them that there is cameras, and we've just literally not had any issue. That doesn't mean we won't. We do have terms and conditions that they sign when they sign up online. And the terms
Uh-huh.
and conditions are pretty clear on what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, and we can terminate them immediately and all of those things to protect
Yeah.
us. If somebody's doing something that we don't want them to do, we can, of course, just ask them to leave and cancel their subscription and, their app
Yeah.
and things like that. We found that, through a couple different sources of co-working spaces. And then we went through like LegalZoom to make sure that we could, create a legal document. All super pretty simple, honestly.
Have you, I know we're talking about this in terms of like work, people working, doing work, whatever their profession is. But have you had anybody like say, I want to have a birthday party or a family reunion?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
good. Yeah.
we don't mind it if it's after hours, So we're trying to mitigate like kids' birthday parties now. And it's not because we're discriminating against children. It's because people do sometimes work on Saturdays, Sundays, evenings. They're in here actually working. And if there's a lot of little kids around screaming, that's going to disrupt people that are paying for work, right? So,
Yeah.
but we've had baby showers. It's just adults on a Sunday afternoon in our cafe. We've had wedding showers. We've had meetups that are more social, but they're typically adult meetups for the most part, just because it is a professional space. That being said, we do a couple of community things that are not. One of the things this space has kind of drawn is people who want to give back and getting involved in the community. Our cafe is a really cool area for us to use. So we actually offer a free meal to the community twice a month, and we have volunteers that bring food, and the people in the space get to actually sign up. My husband and I are here usually for most of those. We've passed out a lot of the information around us to, seniors, to veterans, and to different organizations, teen moms and different things like that. And so we do tend to get maybe 20, 25 people that show up twice a month and come and have a free meal, and we can just hang out with them and, provide some fellowship. And so that's just something on the heart of my husband and I. And so we do that twice a month. And it also is cool because we have people within the space that are signing up to volunteer. So it gives them a way to give back. And I think they really like that. Once a month on Friday evening, we do a community worship night, and we have some people that were in here that are worship leaders at various churches, and they came to me with the idea, and I said, I think that's fantastic. So for people who maybe don't have a church, don't want to go to a church, but still want to come and worship Jesus, they do that once a month on a Friday. It's been very successful and very cool. And in addition to that, we've had a few like ladies' nights where it's more networking happen here once a month. We have some book clubs, so there's just kind of those random things. We have investor meetups happening here a ton. We've had nonprofits have like VIP parties for like their best, contributors to their nonprofit. And they brought a little, one-man band up in the front, and they gave them food and drink. And then they brought them back to the training room, and they kind of did a presentation and thanked everybody for their support. We have a gentleman who has a nonprofit here that does some really cool stuff with youth. And he had his little graduation party with their parents in the back here one Saturday afternoon. So, but these are members that get to use it in this way. When we first opened, we said, hey, we'll charge anybody. We need to pay some bills here. When we didn't have as much membership at the beginning, we just had an hourly rate to rent out our space. At this point, I very rarely do that because our members are filling up the space. We have 160 members. So I want to leave it open to them. Occasionally, if there's a really cool organization that wants to use our space, it's really great for them and for us for exposure. If it's an available slot, I'll, do that with them. And that's just kind of a business decision case by case, but we just don't have a lot of times available anymore for that. And I don't want to book up time away from our members that are paying. And that becomes the exclusivity of it, right? Which is what, we were hoping to create over time. So.
Yeah. How about alcohol? Do you let people bring alcohol in?
Yes, we do. We do,
You
but
do.
we have it. We do. But we have it in our terms and conditions, kind of a release of liability because nothing can be sold here. And B, we're not having hard alcohol and things like that. So if anything, we've had a few little things where people have brought some champagne, like for a toast, or, we've had it where people brought like a few, like some beer or some seltzers, and it's just like a really chill, casual thing. I mean, we have some of our real estate teams do their client appreciation party here in the summer and have 100 clients coming in and out, and, they're having barbecue, and, they have non-alcoholic and alcoholic beverages. But I mean, it's just, people aren't sitting around here drinking, they might have a drink and go. A beer, whatever. So we laid it out in our terms and conditions. We obviously make sure that our insurance is appropriate for all the things that we do, and we don't sell it ever. Everything has to be just, provided, because we don't have a license for that.
Right. How about the health department in any way? Because you have an eating space, you don't have to worry about that at all?
No,
Okay.
because it's like a potluck if anything happens, because we don't have a stove here. So it's a microwave is the what we could do, or a crock pot, which is what people bring in and plug in. So it's all free. It's all just people bringing something, if anything, or catering it in which case those facilities obviously are the ones that need to be monitored, not us, because they're catering it in. So we don't have to worry about anything like that. We actually did have a Thanksgiving meal here. We served about 125 people a Thanksgiving meal, and we did reach out to the Panhandle Health, just because we felt like we might have a lot of people and we didn't know. And they, gave us the A-OK. We used gloves, they tell us the standards to do. We didn't cook anything on site. So most of our food was donated. It was free, and so, but we felt in a larger thing like that, because the word might get out, and we had no idea if we'd have hundreds, or we didn't know, because it was the first one we did reach out to them, and it was a pretty simple process, but on a daily basis, that's not anything that we need to do.
Yeah. It sounds like you do a lot with maybe professionals but you do some of the different kind of parties as well. Do you find that there are certain times of the year where it's like, oh yeah, the business has gone up and then it's kind of slow? Is it slow during the summer? Is it high during the summer? Do you see any kind of trends that way?
Good question. So we opened last March, so we've only gone through one summer, and we grew. We grew the entire first year, but I don't know if that's because we were new. If you look at the trends of traditional co-working spaces, they aren't really growing during the summer because people aren't working in the office as much in the summer, particularly in a climate like ours where we have beautiful weather in the summer, and people are waiting for it. They aren't in the office very much. We literally were signing up multiple people every single month, all spring, summer, fall, winter, because maybe because we're new. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see. I will tell you that we've had a lot of people signing up from January until now. I mean, I have multiple calls a day at this point in March. And we didn't have multiple calls a day, obviously, last March, because we just opened and nobody knew who we were. So we're still seeing the trends. I have talked to other people. We have another co-working space here. She says they have no business being added in the summer typically. So I'm sure there is some seasonality around that. And I mean, if you're still doing things, you're still going to get people in the door. I mean, we do less training in the summer because we know less people will probably show up. But if we do it, we do something that's like people want to come to, and we'll maybe think about it. Maybe let's do it early in the morning when people want to work, and then they're off for the rest of the day, or make sure you do it in the middle of the week, not the beginning or end, because people are taking long weekends, just being a bit more strategic. Because we do offer trainings, we'll bring guest speakers in for the membership to bring extra value. We did a lot of that through the fall and winter, and we're still doing a lot of that in the spring, especially for the real estate market the way it is. But we'll, we're going to peel back a little bit on that in the summer, not only for them, but for us too, because, we're going to want to be out doing some other things. So I think you can be a little bit strategic on, taking advantage of certain times of the year too, probably.
Yeah. So I might have missed this if you already said it, but do you say, I mean, we do have members. We gotta allow time for them. Do you say like these times are blocked out for the members? Like if they come in every day, if your team's whatever team they are, they come in every day. So do you you don't have them pre-register, do you, to be able to come in, but you block your calendar so that these times are always available? Because I guess I was thinking of what if somebody says, hey, I want to have a baby shower at 2:00 on Thursday.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that okay?
So typically, no. Typically, if they're going to have things that are not of a professional a professional meeting or
Mhm.
training, we ask them to be in the evenings or weekends.
Okay.
Because
All
we
right.
have too many people working in here to have non-professional things happening alongside people trying to actually work and bring clients into me is not professional.
Right.
So I tell people late afternoon, like, 4:30-ish or so, because a lot of people are out of the office by then, all the way into whatever time in the evening they want. Honestly, doesn't matter to me. And then on weekends, and they just have to, it's just first come, first serve as far as scheduling goes. And other than that, I mean, they just have to schedule. It's just first come, first serve for conference rooms and training room and things like that. They know that. And it really hasn't been an issue. There's going to be people that use the space more than others. That's kind of
Yeah.
just a reality, but
Okay.
yeah. Cool.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, we're still learning. So what I'm saying today, next year, I might say, you know what, scratch that. But for the most part, it is working. We're failing forward a little bit, but we're enjoying it. I think it's really great to be able to just, have people come feel like they're part of something other. We love the virtual, and sometimes people can get stuck in a rut where they also don't really ever collaborate with anybody. And that's not good either. So there has to be some sort of happy medium. And I think that's where, the $99 a month, especially because most people coming to eXp Realty are saving a lot of money to come to eXp. So to add at $99 a month, they're still saving a lot of money coming to eXp. That isn't going to that's not going to make or break anything for them. And it gives them some things like the mail and the address and the copier and the scanner and the coffee for them and their clients, that pretty soon it's like, okay, well, I'm going to pay $99 doing all this stuff somewhere else anyway. So why don't I just join that space? And then once they join, they feel more compelled to come and do things here. And I think that's really healthy for them. I'm going to be honest. I think even if they only come like once a week, it's better than just sitting at home all month long and then, missing an email and not even knowing about Zenlist or, whatever. It's just really trying to gather the people, because I feel like that they do learn more things and hear about more things in person. And so I really believe that's increasing the culture of eXp in our local area. And again, you can do that by just setting up regular meetings with people. You don't have to have a space to do it in. Find a space that you can consistently have it for and invite your people to. You don't have to own a space to do it. But I just think that conceptually has really, really, really helped the agents locally. And so that
So
would be. Mhm.
do you have a way so that if somebody says, oh, I want to, like you were talking about real estate teams or whatever, they want to bring their team in there, and you could go out and see, oh, there's already 55 people there. So I don't know if this is going to work for
Oh,
us right now, something like that. Do you
you
have
can't see how
any
many
way?
people are here, but you can just see if there's space available. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they wanted to bring their team back here to the training room and do something with them, they'd have to schedule it, and then they'd know it would be available for them. Or if they wanted to go into the large training room, they would have to have that scheduled. And then it really wouldn't matter if more people were here. Hopefully there is more people, because it brings some good energy. It's just that if they
Yeah.
needed a private space, then they'd have to schedule that. They wouldn't just show up and assume that there's a space open, because the odds are probably wouldn't be at this point.
Yeah.
I use a scheduling app that I found online, and it's actually worked really well for us. And this has been an example of what it looks like. So this is Wednesday today. This is today. And so we have 2 small conference rooms. We have 2 large conference rooms. They're labeled by name. And then we have our training center, and we have our cafe. And these are all reservable spaces. And so if I went in here this morning and I was like, I need a conference room, you're going to see what's available. And so you would have to plan accordingly. Now, you can always meet with your team if it's a small team in the cafe, because there's a lot of space up there. And for the most part, on most days, there's a lot of room in the training room as well. Today had some different things in it, but if I look at tomorrow, it's a lot lighter, right? So a lot of these happen because people start signing up when they're here. You can sign up when you're here, right? So the day gets busier as people come in. But if I wanted to come in tomorrow, I have a ton of opportunity where I could sign up with my team. Same thing on Friday. Nothing on the docket Saturday yet. We've got something on Sunday. And then, we've got some things happening on Monday already. So people would have to get in here and Tuesday, but there's definitely still quite a bit of space most days, despite the fact that we have 150 people. There's still quite a bit of
Yeah.
space. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking that's very helpful to see, like, maybe people's names, if they can see that. If some if, if somebody's trying to schedule some time and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, my friend's going to be there on Tuesday, I'm going to go in on Tuesday.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
So
they,
no, they wouldn't see who. I get to see who.
oh, okay. Oh, you're the
I'm the
only one.
admin.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Because I wanted to
Okay.
be able to see that so that if somebody is really like monopolizing a conference room, because the rule is you don't use it as an office, you use it as a conference room, right? And there are some
Yeah.
caveats. We have a gentleman who only comes once a month. So he uses a conference room pretty much all day, that one day of the month, but like he doesn't use it any other day. So there's some caveats where it makes sense that somebody could do that. But if they're coming in and they're sitting in a conference room for 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, it's not going to work, because that's not what the co-working is for. Because if we had
Yeah.
5 people do that, we would have no conference room space, right? So I want to be able to see that just in case we have any of those issues, which we haven't really. But so when you go in there, all you see is what's available and that it's just blocked off. So you would have to just communicate with your friends. I
If
mean,
you're,
yeah,
if you are a single person just going in there to work at one of the
Yeah.
single stations or whatever, I mean, I can see the benefit. Like, I might think, oh, I don't want to go in there. I'm just going to sit there in that big building by myself. But if I knew that even five
oh yeah,
people were there, I might be like, oh, I'm going to go over there
yeah,
and see what's going on. And if you gave everybody the option of saying, do you want to be, gosh, the word is this left me. Do you want people to know your name or not?
Yep.
Do you want anonymous?
Yeah.
Do you want to be anonymous or do you
Yeah.
not? And
Yeah, I
then
don't
that
think
could,
Yeah, this particular system, I don't think offers that. I'm sure there are other ones that do. For the most part, I mean, with 150 members, if you come here, there's people here. So, I
okay.
mean, people don't question that anymore. And the people that are working here don't want to work from home all the time. That's one of the reasons they're here. And if they also come around events or trainings, there's a lot of people here. So all they have to do is go into our website and see all the trainings that are coming. And like today, we have a huge, I think 50 or 60 people are doing an alignable in-person meetup. And so there's gonna be 50, 60 people back here, and any of our members could jump in and meet these people too, or just be around the space when they're coming in and out to introduce themselves to people and hang out. So there'll be a buzz in here at 3 o'clock this afternoon. And so people can see what's going on in the space, and then we've got a really cool real estate training happening tomorrow. We have something else happening on Friday. So people will see those things, and then they can choose to be here during those times because they know there's gonna be a lot of people here. So from a networking perspective, they just kind of learn to know what's going on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Cool. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining. I'll go ahead and get this out on my YouTube channel if anybody wants to share it with a friend or a colleague. If you have any questions, work chat me. It'll also remain in EXP Family Tree as a live stream. So if you have further questions or you're watching it later, I will monitor that over the course of the next week or so and try to answer all those questions that you guys have. Thanks for joining me live. See you guys
Cari.
later.
Great. Thank you, Cari.
Bye.